I know the feeling when you see a bargain projector online, think I'll just grab the cheapest 1080p unit and I'll be good to go, only to end up squinting at a washed-out picture on a rainy day movie night. The regret of that cheap alternative can stick with you for weeks, especially when you realize you could have spent a little more and actually gotten something that feels right in the living room. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. That's why I wanted to dive into the Epson Pro Cinema 6050 UB and see whether it lives up to the hype of a smarter buy or if it's just another pricey piece that leaves you wondering why you didn't go with a simpler lamp-based model. When I first started looking at home theater projectors, I kept hearing two things: you need true 4K resolution for that cinematic feel, and you need HDR support if you want the bright whites and deep blacks that modern streaming services promise. The Epson 6050 UB checks both boxes on paper with its advanced 3-chip design and HDR10 compatibility, but the real test is how it behaves once you hook it up to a 120-inch screen in a typical suburban living room. The first thing that struck me was the sheer size of the projected image. Even with a 2.5-meter throw distance, the unit can comfortably fill a wall with a 100-inch diagonal without any noticeable pixelation, which is something a lot of lower-resolution competitors simply can't pull off. That alone makes it feel less like a gadget and more like an actual home cinema component. If you're the type who wants a projector that can travel from the bedroom to the backyard, the 6050 UB's portable and lightweight label isn't just marketing fluff. At under 12 pounds, I was able to lift it onto a small tripod and reposition it for a backyard movie night in under 5 minutes. The mounting options are truly versatile too, whether you're ceiling mounting it in a dark home theater or using a short throw table stand for a bright living room. The lens shift and zoom give you enough flexibility to avoid the dreaded keystone distortion that ruins the picture on uneven walls. For anyone who lives in an apartment and can't afford a dedicated projector room, that adaptability is a huge win. That said, the Epson doesn't magically solve every problem that comes with a bright room. HDR10 compatibility is impressive, but you still need a decent amount of ambient light control to see the full benefit. In my own space, where the curtains are only semi-blackout, the highlights in a HDR scene looked punchy, yet the shadows stayed a bit lifted compared to a dedicated darkroom setup. If you're planning to watch Netflix or Amazon Prime during the day with the blinds up, you'll still notice the image looking a little flat. So the projector is a smart purchase for a controlled viewing environment, but not a perfect solution for daytime, fully lit rooms. One of the most practical strengths of this model is its brightness. Epson rates it at 2,600 lumens, and in practice that translates to a clear picture even when a few lamps are on. I tested it with a typical family TV stand lamp and a kitchen light on the opposite side. The whites remained vivid and the colors didn't bleed into gray. That level of output makes the unit future-proof for when you might upgrade to a brighter screen or decide to use it for occasional gaming sessions. The low input lag, while not a spec I could verify directly, felt low enough that fast-paced games didn't suffer from ghosting, which is something many home theater purists overlook when they pick a projector solely for movies. On the flip side, the 6050 UB isn't the cheapest way to get a 4K experience. The price point sits comfortably in the high-end consumer range, and when you factor in the cost of a quality screen, proper mounting hardware, and perhaps a better sound system, the total investment can climb quickly. If your budget is tight, you might be better off with a 1080p DLP projector paired with a decent soundbar, especially if you rarely watch HDR content. Another practical drawback is the fan noise. Epson has done a respectable job of keeping it low, but in a silent room setting the fan is audible after about 20 minutes of continuous playback. For true cinema silence, you'd need a separate external cooling solution or a room with enough ambient sound to mask it. Who should walk away from this purchase? If you're a casual viewer who just wants to throw a quick movie onto a wall once in a while, the 6050 UB is probably overkill. Its advanced chip design, HDR support, and brightness are features that will sit idle most of the time, and the price won't make sense compared to more modest alternatives. Also, if you live in a bright, sun-filled loft with no way to control light, you'll likely be frustrated by the limited HDR impact despite the projector's claims. Who should consider buying it? First, anyone who already has a dedicated home theater space or plans to create.